Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com, your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now. Wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Listening outside of the morning hours. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. We got some 3 a.m. listeners. Good morning to you, Amanda LaFratta. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dave. How are you this morning?
I'm well. I've learned the bus route this morning, so got caught behind a bus. But other than that, everything's good. We have rankings to talk about. That's pretty wild, and that was the discussion this morning at the gym. It's already the Georgia, Alabama. Georgia looked better than I'm like, this is all going to sort itself out. I've always found it very interesting how people get so caught up in ratings in September, rankings, I should say, in September. So the AP is out, Tennessee in the top 25 poll. We've got a huge show today. Cain will join us from Volquest and Locked on Vols. So looking forward to that. We've got a lot going on. And I really, maybe it was self-indulgent, but I just really enjoyed a great conversation with Heath Shuler. It was great because of him, not because of me. So we'll get to that as well. Please mash on that like and subscribe button. Like us, subscribe, and set your notifications on. I'll give you for example. Heath Shuler dropped yesterday. If you didn't have the notifications on, you didn't know it. John Adams is going to drop today a little bit later. If you don't have your notifications on, you're not going to know it. So we want that subscribe button punched and like. It's too bad we don't have a love button. That's what we ultimately need. What if you had a love button, like a heart? I think we could market that.
Facebook has a heart. Well, Twitter has a heart.
Twitter has a heart. And do you remember when Facebook went from it used to be somebody would say, oh, my grandmother passed away, and you would just click like. Heart. Well, you would click like because like it's prayers or something and you're in a hurry, but really you don't like the fact that the person's grandmother died. So they switched it, what, about 8 years ago or so, where you could do different emojis.
I don't think it was 8 years ago. I think they switched it like 2 years ago. Well, you can do different emojis, but they switched it to where there was like a care emoji. So you could just care. Right.
And I just always felt weird about, you're on your phone and you shouldn't be texting and driving, but unfortunately I do, and I'm trying to stop that. And I can really quickly hit like and tell you I'm thinking of you, but I don't like the fact your grandmother's dead. So hit like, and if you can find a love button on YouTube, go ahead and click on that too. So we have a ton of stuff to get to today. I love just opening it up and getting Amanda's thoughts from the get. The top 25, Tennessee makes it in at 24. They didn't make it in the coaches poll. And then if you want to address the top of it, people are going to debate Alabama, Georgia until they play very likely in Atlanta. And that's fine. But just anybody else that stood out in the top 25, it's stunning to me the first time since 2020 that Tennessee was ranked. Time flies. But what stood out to Amanda LaFratta?
That Florida jump was intense.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an intense jump. We went from not ranked to 12th. So we just jumped everybody on one game. That seemed a pretty large jump there. That was not unprecedented, I feel like. The Wisconsin dropped after just dominating their opponent. It was Illinois State, but still. And still the best thing out of that game was the jump around. The announcers.
Go to the Twitter feed for a giggle.
Still It's still a lot. One had to apologize to his wife on air, which was very awkward. But anyway, continuing on from that, those two really, I think that was really surprising to me. And the fact that I think Ole Miss stayed in, which is fine, but they shouldn't have. I don't think they played well enough to stay where they were. And who else was it that? Oh, Oregon. Oregon's out, right? Completely.
Yeah, Oregon. I don't even see
be.
where they got votes. So I mean, they dropped completely out and should have. I mean that. Now they actually somehow, some way are 24 in the coaches poll. Now that is the difference ultimately between the AP and the coaches poll. So this leads me into the conversation I wanted to have with you, because ultimately the coaches are going to kind of look out for each other a little bit. They know what it's like for if they're filling it out, if they get a final look, and some don't even look at it. But for the ones that do, they look at Oregon and they look at a guy who's trying to build up a program and they say, hey, you just ran into an incredibly tough team. On the flip side, I'm going to talk extremes here. Not everybody's like this. But on the AP side of it, as far as the media voters, they actually will approach it in several different ways. Okay, probably about, I'm don't check my math on here, Amanda, but it's probably 25% just go by score, and it's like a slotting system, so you have to move up. 25% don't care. I mean, if you really take your time, it should take you a couple hours on a Sunday, which is why I've never wanted to do that. And then you got about 25% or somewhere that really are volatile. So, like, for instance, we didn't know anything headed into week one. I believe in volatility. Like, even if I had Oregon number one and they got beat like they did against Georgia, I would drop them completely out of the top 25. Now, that's not to say that I would vote Georgia ahead of Alabama at the top, because Alabama wasn't tested. I still think their starting 22 is better than Georgia. But, Amanda, how would you approach it? I mean, would you be volatile? Would you really move people around? And at what point in the season do you think the body of work would factor in your judgment?
I mean, honestly, does it really matter at this point? Are rankings really that
Not really
influential? They're not. And to prove that they're not, you have Florida, who wasn't ranked in the top 25, and they jump all the way to 12. So this is media guessing at its best. I mean, that's literally all it is, or coaches guessing at their best. I mean, everyone is doing guesswork, especially for teams that have a brand new coach, or that, has gone through a transition period, like it seems that Ole Miss is going through at this moment. This is just a guessing game for the most part. So there's really no point in, ranking people at the very beginning of the season, or even after week one, because you have no idea. No one knows. No one knows who's looking the best and who's not. I mean, you can see by performance. Now, when it comes to Alabama, people say they weren't tested and all of that. I mean, they forget that this team last year went 11-3. I mean, it wasn't Ball State. It wasn't a
lot better than Ball State. Yes.
Yeah, they went 11-3. They would have been able to hang with Oregon. So it's not like it's, Austin P over here.
No,
like it's a legitimate team.
It is the Down and Dirty at 30, and it's brought to you today by our friends at Honeybee. Honeybee Coffee, with locations throughout Knoxville, but you can order online at Honeybee Coffee. And man, Amanda, it is just great, fantastic coffee, top 5% of the beans in the world. But like you point out, nobody's doing bean counts. I mean, it is just fantastic. And kudos to Honeybee and all the guys there, because they are doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, they are. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the beans are. It doesn't matter where they came from. And to be honest, if we're honest and we're Americans, the sustainability and all of that stuff and how they were found and shipped and all that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's what does it taste like? Is it good? And so definitively, yes, it's good. It tastes good and it will get you going in the morning. That's all you need to know.
Absolutely. So John's saying shouldn't even be pre-rankings. This is always an interesting conversation for me because let's face it, like you said, we really don't know, and we really don't know until probably week 4. But it creates conversation. Now, I will be interested to see the college football playoff, if how much of the rankings factor in. So, yeah, I think the days of having to climb up the rankings. Do you remember when people used to say that you're outside the top 25, so you can never get up to uh, to a championship game because you have too many people to pass? Okay, well, that's because of so many AP voters didn't take time and they did the slotting system. They just said, "Hey, I'm done. I got the rest of my Sunday." So, when I look at the way college football is set up and going to be set up, if you're in a Power Five conference, or really in some cases a Group of Five conference, and things break right for you, you're going to be in the college football playoff for sure with 12, and I think Cincinnati showed that probably with 4. So, I don't know how this factors into it, but you wouldn't do the pre-rankings at all, you said?
No, I wouldn't do the pre-rankings at all because they don't they're never accurate. They don't make any sense. I feel like half the people that are ranked end up falling out, or if they stay ranked, it's only after a whole season of crap from everybody else, to be honest. They fall out of the rankings, they come back into the rankings. I wouldn't do preseason rankings because they don't mean anything. They really don't. They mean zero when it comes down to it. The only time they meant something was in like the BCS era where they did computer. Like they scheduled stuff like the number 1 and 2 by computer rankings. And that's the only time that they've really meant anything. Now they don't. And when we have a 12-team playoff, it's really not going to matter then.
Okay, how would you set the college football playoff? They're not going to listen to us, and they probably already have a plan in place. But how would you set the college football playoff? Because I'm gonna present you something, and you tell me if I'm crazy. Here is what I would do.
Okay.
I would have an analytical formula based off wins and losses. I do not like a bunch of people in a room that all have agendas deciding who plays in a 4, 8, 12, whatever the number is, team playoff. I don't like that. I don't like any part about that. I think there are too many agendas in play. How would you do it?
So what I would do is I would have 0 rankings. So everyone starts with a clean slate. So Alabama starts the same as Georgia Tech.
Ball State.
Yeah. Or not really Ball State, but yeah. But they start the same as like a Georgia Tech, right? Who we saw is not very good. But they start off the same, completely 0. After about half the season, I'd say week 6, where you can really see how teams are developing, how they're playing, how they're, if it's sloppy wins, it's still a win, but it's a sloppy win, so they're not looking that great. But you can see where teams stand. Then I would, as an AP poll, as coaches poll, blah, 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 I would rank them based on those rankings and the playoff committee. I don't agree necessarily with them sitting around and deciding who's who, but based on those rankings, like you said, analytics will come into play at that point. Then you'll have who you need up there, especially with 12 teams. It's not going to be difficult. I mean, it's 12 teams, and really top 4 is all you need, because other than those top 4, the likelihood of it, this is not basketball. This is not March Madness. The likelihood of somebody coming in and taking out one of, at least one of the top 2 is very, very, very slim.
It is. Football, usually more than any other sport, the best team wins. And And you're right. Now, Greg Sankey would have said, had we asked him the question, oh, the 13th team is going to complain about not being in 12. That's fine. But if you can't secure yourself in a top 12, I mean, that to me is beyond arguable. A top 2, yes, a third team could say, hey, man, we deserve a shot. Even a top 4, a 5 team, there have been times where I thought there's a real argument between the 4 and 5. Listen, if you can't get in the 12, that means you've got 2 or 3 losses. That's on you, right?
Yeah. If you can't get in the 12, then you don't need to be in there. And let's be honest, if there's 12 teams, we're going to see the likelihood of, at least 4 of those teams just getting completely destroyed.
Yep.
I mean, completely destroyed. And somebody put out 2012. If there was a 12-team playoff in 2012, do you know how many SEC teams are in that?
Oh, wow. I would say 4.
Almost is 5. Almost half of the 12 teams were SEC teams at the end of the year. So If people want this, and I understand, I hear the Cincinnatis of the world and the Boise States and the UCFs and all those people, 12 teams, 12 teams, 12 teams. Okay, here you go. I mean, you're going to have SEC dominance, and I hate it for you, but you're going to have SEC dominance. That is exactly what's going to happen. Then everyone's going to get in their feels and be upset.
No, you wrote a great column about that. So, what if, I guess theoretically it could happen. I think the committee will do everything they can to make sure it doesn't happen when they see these teams. What if the final 4 teams were all SEC teams? Then
it's going to happen. It's going to.
You think, oh, wow, you think all 4? Wow. I think they'll seed them where they have to play each other. But I think at the end of the day, end of the season, we might see the 4 best teams from the SEC. But if they want to get creative with seeding to make it pretty for the ACC and other conferences, that's fine. But it's a fine thing, right? So, yeah, I certainly would tell you that I think that as far as getting in that top 12, having that sort of goal to shoot for is very doable. But if you're 13, that's just too bad. So, all right, Amanda. So the Down and Dirty at 30 brought to you this morning by Honeybee Coffee. We want to get to today's tough question. But first, I do want to mention the press conference yesterday as part of the Down and Dirty at 30. So Tim Banks, Tennessee's defensive coordinator, asked about the lack of sacks that Tennessee had against Ball State. And he didn't seem concerned whatsoever. He said they had basically a lot of tools in the toolbox. I can't remember the exact quote he used. It's on offthehooksports.com. You can see the video there too as well, and the video of all the players yesterday, as well as my breakdown of what the Vols had to say. And Amanda, on the flip side, it was almost like when I watching that press conference yesterday, it's almost like Joey Halsell, the quarterback coach, is getting sick of being asked about how much better is Hendon Hooker. It was almost like, right, he is a different dude. You could tell it in his voice. So I think that's just a commodity that they believe is secure, barring some sort of injury or unforeseen thing. I don't think they have any questions about what Hendon Hooker could do. And he also illustrated that by saying Hooker takes them out of bad plays all the time. And that's something that he wasn't doing last year.
No, it wasn't. And he probably does get tired of being asked that question over and over and over. But he has to understand every coach gets asked those stupid questions over and over and over. And I think what media members are really trying to do when they ask that is that they know. They're not dumb. They know. But they want to hear the coach say it so that it's something that they can write about, something that they can talk about, something that gets UT fans excited for the season, excited that Hendon Hooker may be the next best thing since Peyton Manning or something. I mean, that's what they want. They want to drive their readers or listeners or, audience to come back more and more and more. And the more you hype up a team, the more likely it is that your audience is coming back to you.
Well, yeah, and if you write about Hendon Hooker, is it going to get more clicks than Tyler Barron? Absolutely, it is. And I can tell you that in the doldrums of November, that there were times it's like, it's a lot easier just to write about the quarterback. And I'm not going to say that I've never done that. I do think there could be some changes made to the way the press conferences are held, that you could get some better answers and better questions. Obviously, it's so tight now. I don't know if you ever listen to the press conferences, and it's why that it's not the forefront of something we do. I constantly hear 2 questions. That means that, first of all, that's the worst way to ask a question, because somebody has to think about it. But second, that means you're rushing the media and trying to get them through and trying to get the coach out of there. And what you get out of that is, I prefer Cooper and Jacob on Sundays.
I mean, honestly, yes, that, but there should just be maybe they should go virtual with this thing. Maybe they just have the media in a space or a chat or whatever with access. They're the only ones with access to the keyboard, so they can ask questions. Basically, they're the only ones that have the ability to do that. Fans can watch, but media members can send in their questions, and then they answer that way. That way the coaches can choose the questions they want to answer.
It's not a bad idea, actually, the more I think about it. Top 20, and 2 questions, dash. But as far as the rankings, I'll just leave it at this. We're going to know a lot more at the end of September. I like the rankings coming out because it's good content, to be real honest with you. But does it affect who's going to be selected in the college football playoff? No. I mean, did anybody have Cincinnati in their top 4 this time last year?
I don't think so. We can look that up, but I don't think so.
I would guarantee you that nobody had them in there. All right, it's time for today's tough questions, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. City Heating and Air Conditioning is all about integrity. There are a lot of those trucks driving around, but City Heating and Air Conditioning wants you to know they've been in business for 50 years. That's 50. So when it comes to integrity, they built that, and they built your trust. It is today's tough question.
We do our research. Have you done your research?
We're working like heck.
Today's tough question. What's the real debate?
You sipping my soupe, Guadalupe?
Exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker and Amanda LaFratta.
You drinking my sake, Kimosabi?
Oh, my God.
Where did we end up yesterday? You had a great question yesterday. Where did we end up on that?
I have to look because I've already got the question up and ready to go for today.
Well, I can tell you. We said where did Boutte from LSU end up?
Yes, that is what we said.
Tennessee just dominated. The Vols are just taking all comers now. Maybe the next Brew McCoy.
I mean, it's working out so far with the Brew McCoy situation, and I know we see that if they don't fit, out they go. I mean, Lynn J. Dixon, bye, in like 18 days. So I think it's worth for Tennessee. It's worth to take a shot at him.
You and I probably belabored the point because we agree on this completely. You're getting paid now. You have the right to transfer. They have the right. They have the right to career.
Yeah, you are now we're a lot of jazz music right now, Dave. You are now a paid athlete. Like you are now able to be cut.
It's funk. It's not jazzy.
Oh, whatever it was.
All right. So everybody wants Boutte from LSU.
Not everybody, but a lot of people.
Most people want him to come to Tennessee. We don't have any reason to believe that's the case, but like the preseason polls, it was a fun thing to talk about yesterday. So, Amanda, Don't make me giggle. Today's tough question.
Sorry.
Wait, it's okay. Today's tough question. What are we doing with it today?
Oh, okay. So let's go back to yesterday. Sorry, real quick, because I looked it up just because. So 92% say that Tennessee would be the best fit for Butte. And I think that might be like 20% just because they want to wear the word Butte on the back of their shirt.
I do.
I don't want to draw any more attention to this.
Oh, sweet goodness. You've worn a Hooker shirt. It doesn't get any worse than that.
Yeah, but not on my backside.
What if
The hooker's not on the backside. That's the side. You know what I mean?
Well, just think about this, because we were able to get the Hooker shirts printed up because my last name's Hooker and it's no trademark infringement. If we legally changed your name and he came to Tennessee, we legally changed your name to Butte, then we could do a Butte shirt with an arrow pointed down for the ladies.
You don't need the arrow to point down on my back end. I've always had a big one, so you don't need the arrow. People would get it.
I'm going to stay out of trouble here. Vols Automotive Group is your home for car shopping in Knoxville, and it's just simply awesome. It's about integrity at Vols Automotive Group. It's on Callahan. They've got the service. They have it all. They have a great selection, and they're about integrity too. I say that about a lot of our sponsors, and it's because it's true. Amanda and I went into this project saying we only want to work with people that we do business with, and that's exactly what we do. So if you hear me or Amanda give an endorsement of one of our sponsors, I can go ahead and tell you, you will have great service. So what are we going with today, Amanda?
So today it's how many SEC teams do you think will make it into a 12-team playoff?
Ooh, I love it.
So I don't know if I should say like on average, or I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I would just say 1, 2, 3, or 4.
No, everybody knows a 12-team playoff. There's not going to be one SEC team out there.
All right, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, at least 3.
Oh, so you're starting with 3?
Yes, there's no way there's going to be less than 3 SEC teams in a 12-team playoff.
You're probably right. All right, so
we'll do 3 or less.
You're way better.
How about that?
3 or less?
3 or less. And then we'll do 4. We'll do 5. And we'll do 6 or more.
Oh my gosh, that would be a lot. We'll see if we get up to that many, but that would be certainly a tremendous amount. And Spencer asking us, is it true Pitt only gave us 500 P seats in those nosebleed and UT turned them down? We gave them 2,200 last year in the lower section. How classless. It's a little more complicated than that, Spencer. We did go through it last night when Amanda pulled up a picture of the stadium. So like 500 at Brickshire or whatever it's called, used to be Heinz Field, is not like it's terrible because it only seats 68,000. So now
and there's no nosebleeds. There's no nosebleeds at the stadium. Like there's 2 levels. So it's not like it's not like in Milan, there's not 1, 2, 3, and you can't see anything. There's only 2 levels to this. And that's most NFL, stadiums are like that because they want the ticket prices are so high. They want everybody in the stadium to have a good view and experience to be there. So it's not like college stadiums where the more people we pack in the place, the better off we are. It's NFL, they give a little bit more, precedent to the fan experience.
True.
So,
and sometimes like the 300 level is on the same level as the 200 level, but it basically means that you get an open bar and you get a different area. So
it's just a different section.
It definitely sounds worse. As far as the 500 tickets, I mean, that has to be negotiated on the front end. And I know Tennessee wanted to take the band. And I'll be real frank with you. If you can't find a ticket to that game, if you're not willing to spend a little bit more money, and I understand, but still, we're talking about Pitt. We're not talking about the Iron Bowl where the tickets are incredibly hard to come by, or the SEC championship. I mean, that's a doable game. It's football outside of the South is doable from a financial standpoint. 2 minutes, Mr. Biles, and then we are back with more breakdown of the top 25 and a little bit. How about Heath Shuler, former Vol, before the end of the program? We'll be right back. 2 minutes.
Viles here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
This is Al's Nest Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
I didn't even have a chance to down and dirty at 30 to talk about the funniest moment in the SEC yesterday, and it didn't surface until last night, at least when I saw it. So Brian Kelly, apparently some of the media was late wandering in. That's how we do. We wear nice clothes. We just kind of show up. But he said, it must have been a long weekend there. You didn't show up. And one of the reporters said, we'll show up faster if you'll win.
God, yes, that was terrible.
Oh, that was.
He's not getting any kind of exclusive anything. I don't care how bad your hangover is, man. Like,
I think it was a she, but I thought that it was so incredibly unprofessional. It was just like, and it may have just slipped out. And I get that. A guy that will call out Tennessee coaches left and right. And he is absolutely so explosive and volatile. I'm almost afraid to have him on the program as Eric Cain and Locked On Vols. I mean, I don't know what he's going to say. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm glad he's on the program now. Eric, how are you, sir?
That sounds just like me, but no, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, tell us about what's going on with Locked On Vols. First of all, you're doing a great job with that. And I know the switch over from Volquest on 3. Major kudos. Pass this along to Brent Hubson and all the guys. Absolutely love what you guys are doing. But as you focus on Locked On Vols and on 3, you're a busy dude.
Yeah, football season's always busy. Now with the move over to On 3, and I got a whole lot going on. It's been so much fun with that transition. Super excited to be there, and of course, inviting all Tennessee fans to join us over there if you want to come and hang out. Incredible deals. But working with Brent Hubbs, Austin Price, Rob Lewis, it's been a whole lot of fun. So that's been going well. Locked On Vols, the podcast, man, it's my baby, man. As you very well know, like I love it. It's so much fun. It's a platform and it's a community. Continues to grow, and just talking Tennessee football every single day. So things are good. I'm glad football's back.
Yeah, I am too. And let me just start with the most loaded question in the history of man. Are you ready?
What's up?
Okay. Where would you rank Tennessee in the top 25 after what you saw over the weekend?
I think it's about right, about 23, 24, somewhere around there. I put them in. I mean, I understand if you're not inside the top 25 and you're receiving votes, especially in preseason, like it just kind of is what it is. I mean, it's not a true ranking beyond 25. It's why you kind of saw Florida jump all the way from like 38 or 39 to 12. And I mean, that was a huge win for Florida, but I still thought that was a huge leap for Florida. But still, I would put them about 23, 24. You knew Tennessee would slide in with a win against Ball State simply because Arkansas and Cincinnati were playing, and the loser of that game would fall out. So I wouldn't have went much higher. Now, you win against Pittsburgh this week, you're probably going to jump inside the top 20, in my opinion. But I think 23, 24, 24 where they're at, that's probably just about perfect.
And I know Tim Banks was asked, the defensive coordinator, about the lack of sacks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you played ball in college, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Carson Newman.
All right, so I saw a lot of stunts and twists, and I think Tim Banks was trying to do two things. One, he was trying to give Pittsburgh a lot of looks, but two, he also wasn't going to run his guys out there consistently and try to show more than he had to. So if you can just kind of talk about that from the trenches standpoint of, is it bad that Tennessee didn't have a sack, or is it just okay, or your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's the end of the world. I mean, it's Ball State. You want to have some TFLs. You want to get home and bring the quarterback down. So the fact that it didn't happen is not great. I mean, their game plan was to get the ball out quickly. I understand that. That's football sometimes, right? And Tyler Barron was speaking on it earlier this week about how you just continue to rep, and then you get back there and the ball's gone, and it can be frustrating at times. But you still need to find a way to get home. Now, you know, they were not completely bland. I think their game plan on defense was very vanilla. I've said that all week. Now, that does not mean they didn't do anything. They did some things up front, not a whole lot. They didn't blitz a whole lot from the second level, though they did a little bit early in the football game and a little bit later on. I think you're going to see a whole lot more this week against Pittsburgh. Simply put, I just think that you didn't have to do that against Ball State, and not necessarily that you wanted to keep it off film, but I mean, I think that's a plus as well. So I think the main goal for Tim Banks and Tennessee's defense was to win the football game, play a whole lot of guys, get a look at a whole lot of guys like Elijah Herring, Joshua Josephs, some of these cornerbacks, Christian Charles, and that was mission accomplished. So I expect Tennessee to be very much more aggressive defensively in the games up front, even though they did some things, but I think they'll do a whole lot more this coming up this game in Pittsburgh.
So let's go to the other side of the ball offensively here. How do you think Tennessee is going to fare against a defense like Pitt? What do you think the game plan will look like for that? And who do you think really stands out in this game?
Yeah, Tennessee offensively against Pittsburgh's defense. You know, Pat Narduzzi is going to dial it up. He's a great defensive coach, a really good front seven instructor. So these running backs, they were not challenged whatsoever. Jabari Small said, hey, we didn't get a pass pro set at all against Ball State. They're going to get that this week. And so, you know, linebacker screaming off the edge, a defensive tackle, and Elijah Cansey, I believe is his name, a defensive tackle, really nice impact player, you know, streaming through the A-gap. These running backs are going to have to step up and protect their quarterback, and so I'm intrigued to see what that looks like. So whether you keep a tight end for a 6 or 7 man protection, the running back stepping up, I think that's going to be a point of emphasis for, you know, protecting Hendon Hooker to get some looks downfield. Ball State dropped 8 on third downs, but Tennessee couldn't throw the ball downfield on Thursday, and it was fine. You were just nickel and diming the entire time down the field, and that was okay. Now, Pat Narduzzi, when he joined the Nation, Vol Network's Nation on Sunday night, he was talking about the tempo with Tennessee. Obviously, he's played against Josh Heupel now. This will be the 4th time dating back to his days at UCF, and he's very familiar with the tempo, saying that Tennessee gets the ball out in game 1 under 14 seconds 71% of the time. And so that tempo is going to be Tennessee's best friend, obviously, and you can't prepare for a tempo. So I'm intrigued to see the running backs and pass protection, and intrigued to see what Tennessee's tempo looks like, because I think Pittsburgh's defense, which didn't have the best day, is not going to be ready for that tempo again.
You said can't prepare for tempo, and I had a gentleman come up to me just the other day and say something I thought was really insightful, and something that I've actually thought, that it was like the veer back in the day. You couldn't prepare for that the week before. So you played ball, so no offense bomb. But on the flip side, I mean, that's really tough to prepare for in a week. I would imagine tempo is kind of like, I think it is the modern day version of that to overcome maybe some shortcomings on your roster.
Yeah, and so essentially, when you're playing scout team, when you're in practice and you break off in the team, the offense is going over there, in team preparing for the opponent's defense. The defense is over here preparing for the opponent's offense. The scout team's looking at plays on a card. And you're going out there and running that play and coming back. I mean, you can't physically replicate what Tennessee does via a scout team look in practice. Like, it's impossible. Sure, you can coach them up to go fast. You can do as much as you can. But there's no way possible that unless you get your entire scout team to memorize the plays, it's almost like game planning for practice every single day. It's just impossible. That's what I mean by that. And so, even Georgia, it took Georgia a quarter to figure that out last year against Tennessee. Now, Georgia was eventual national champions. They figured it out and kind of went from there. Alabama struggled with the tempo at parts throughout the entire ball game last season. The good teams will adjust. And so, we'll see how long it takes Pittsburgh to adjust, but that's what I mean by the tempo. And of course, a lot of people can say it's a kind of a gimmicky offense or whatever with Josh Heupel. I mean, Tennessee broke 8 school records on offense a season ago. I think he'll take that every single year if he can continue to score points and win football games.
Yeah, it's only gimmicky until it works, and then it's just called successful.
Yeah.
So question for you: what individual player do you see an individual player that you're expecting to stand out in this game, like somebody who to watch during the game, if it's a wide receiver, if it's a running back, if it's a defensive back, who do your eyes go to in this game?
Well, obviously you want to see your playmakers make some big time plays. Cedric Tillman, Brew McCoy out there on the perimeter. You want to see Jabari Small run the ball well. Pat Narduzzi was not happy with the way his defense, played against the run. West Virginia averaging almost 6 yards a carry in the backyard brawl. So I'm looking at Jabari Small on offense, because as much as everybody thinks Tennessee throws the football, and it does, Tennessee's offense starts with the run game, and Josh Heupel will be there first to tell you that. So Jabari Small on offense, and then defensively, I just think this is a Jeremy Banks game, sitting right there in the middle, playing linebacker. He is very much a run-stopping type guy. He didn't play the best game, in terms of grades per Pro Football Focus. I know that's not everything, but he never will in that regard. But, you get a team that's going to run the ball right at you. I think this could be a Jeremy Banks game. Again, Pittsburgh attempted 38 rushes the other night, averaged 2 yards per carry, which is not good. So Jeremy Banks with stopping the run, and then Tennessee's defense needs to be ready for play action pass, because Keaton Slovis will make it a point to go run, play action pass, throw over the top. Tennessee's safeties need to get back and get their eyes on the right spot as well. So Banks, McCullough, and then Jabari Small on offense.
Well, let me ask you, as far as preparation, again, you played on the offensive side, but as far as preparation for this Tennessee offense, I'm just curious, do you think that they'll drop 8 like we saw Ball State do? Do you think they'll bring pressure, or do you think they'll rely on the front 4 to essentially do the pressure? Because it's a much better defensive line, needless to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to dial it up and bring pressure. I think at times they can try to rely on their front 4. They've got a defensive end by the name of Baldonado, an Italian that had 9 sacks a season ago. I mentioned the defensive tackle Cansey. I think he had 7 or 8 sacks a season ago. John Morgan III, another defensive end, had 2 sacks the other night. So they've got a pretty decent and experienced front 4. I think they can rely on at times, but also I think that they're going to bring some pressure from the second level and try to really mix some things up. They got a linebacker by the name of Dennis that had 90 tackles last year, led him with 10 tackles last week against West Virginia. So I think that you're going to see a whole lot more of that. I don't think you're going to see much drop 8 and say, all right, just throw it in front of us and we'll see if we can go tackle you. I truly do believe that it's going to be more of a, the normal man in the back end, mixing in some zones and 2 to 3, but really trying to get after Tennessee's offensive line, making it difficult for Hendon Hooker to beat them with his arm.
Please hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget Eric Cain on Locked On Vols. I know Amanda has another one for you, I believe, but I just wanted to real quick, from your X's and O's standpoint, the fact that you did play, how different is this offense? And we just saw the West Virginia game, but how different is this offense this year as opposed to what Tennessee saw against Pitt with a Blitnikoff award winner and a first-round pick in the NFL draft at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different. I mean, Kenny Pickett, as you mentioned, first-round quarterback, had a lot of Heisman hype a season ago. Really good quarterback. Jordan Addison, Blitnikoff Award winner. Now he's at Southern Cal and made the most of his game one over there. So I would say it's less explosive. You know, they've got a receiver, a big-time receiver in Jared Wayne. They've got Mumpfield's another receiver that's experienced, a former Tennessee receiver that was here all the way back in 2019, I want to say. Gerard Means, he plays a role in there as well. They've got a tight end by the name of Bartholomew. Tennessee's got a couple of those here. So they are going to go back to what Pitt traditionally is offensively under Narduzzi and running the football, less pass happy. Mark Whipple, the offensive coordinator, is no longer there. They brought in a new offensive coordinator. So having said all of that, you know, Keaton Slovis is a guy that is not a bad quarterback. Had a great first 3 years at Southern Cal, had a great first game, even though he only had 16 pass attempts against West Virginia. I'm going to see more running of the football, more play action, less spreading it out, less running around with Kenny Pickett trying to make some plays offensively, and more of a this is going to be more of a football team that has a defensive coordinator as a head coach, much like Jeremy Pruitt was here at Tennessee. So that's kind of the difference, I think, offensively and from Pitt last year to Pitt this year.
All right, last thing, score prediction. What are you seeing here?
Oh, man, I have not given my official score prediction just yet. I think Tennessee will win this game. You know, I think Tennessee can get over 30. I'll say about Tennessee 34, Pittsburgh 21 or 24. I think Tennessee can win this game. I think it'll be, you know, by a touchdown or 10 points or so. I don't think it'll be a blowout one way or the other, but I do like Tennessee on the road. I've liked Tennessee all off season in this matchup, and nothing's changed since both these teams played on Thursday.
I want to get to Heath Shuler. I got one last question for you, and it's from John. Why don't they blitz Burrell so we don't have to worry about his coverage? Ouch! That's brutal. What was that, John?
Oh man, I'll say this: I'm a big PFF guy. I like to look at the stats, and according to PFF, Pro Football Focus, Warren Burrell was targeted a team high 11 times in the game against Ball State. The next highest, I think, was Kamal Haddon, maybe with 5, Christian Charles with 4. So, you know, Pittsburgh, Ball State, they've all watched the film. They're going to go and pick on Warren Burrell each and every time. In those 11 targets, Burrell gave up 6 receptions for, I think, 41 yards. So he plays consistent. There's a reason he's out there. But until he proves he is not the weak link, then teams are going to continue to pick on him. So we'll see how he responds. Obviously, I think Tim Banks is pleased with him, saying his day was uneventful, which I guess is a good thing. It's not necessarily a great thing, but uneventful is better than horrible against Ball State for Warren Burrell.
Tell you what, Eric, I've been a fan from afar for a while. Keep up the great work, and again, Locked On Balls. I know some guy started that, and I think he flamed out. I don't know what's happening with that Josh Ward guy, but you're also throwing heat with On 3 and Volquest. So keep it up, man. Really enjoy this stuff.
Hey, appreciate it so much. Thank you, and I love the content you're putting out there, and would love to join again.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Eric Cain of Locked On Balls and On 3 of Volquest. That's about where I am, is 34-21.
Yeah, I don't even see, honestly, Pitt scoring more than like 17. That's just my opinion, and of course, as we've seen, I'm not very good. So,
of course, if you went 0-4-1, I would have gone 0-5. Yeah, I don't think this game's going to be very much in question, and people could say, "Oh, you're just saying that because that's what Tennessee fans want to hear." I don't. I actually think that when we talk about rankings and preseason hype and all that, he didn't get Slovis, the quarterback at Pitt, didn't get a lot of preseason hype per se, but I think he gets exposed a little bit, and I think he's limited. I think there's a reason he left Southern Cal, and I think that ultimately Tennessee is much better at quarterback, much better at the skill position, and up front, I would say that Pitt is better, but I wouldn't say much better on the offensive and defensive line. So usually I'm a trenches guy, but this is the new day and age of college football. So I'm going to go with the quarterback and the skill positions if the trenches are somewhat close, and I think they're somewhat close. We'll get to all those predictions. We've got a lot to get to. I mean, it's just Wednesday, for goodness sake. Where are you leaning?
Where am I leaning for what?
The game, Pitt?
Oh, I said Tennessee will dominate. Pitt won't score more than 17, I don't think.
All right, here is Heath Shuler. Had a chance to visit with him, and it was super cool because Navy made it in the game as, I guess, the fourth quarterback. But I found it really interesting. You know, you talk about a guy that wants to compete. I mean, Heath Shuler, even with Nico coming in and all that, I mean, you'll hear during this that he wants Navy, and Navy wants to compete. They're realistic. They know that they're more talented guys on the roster, but he definitely wants Navy to have the mindset of think about competing for the job, which I thought was – I think it tells you a lot about their mentality. I don't know that Navy's ever going to compete for the job, but it does tell you an awful lot about their mentality. Zool Beer Company will bring you this interview with Heath Shuler. Zool Beer Company is the official beer of Off the Hook Sports, and they've got the great panoramic views downtown, and they've got worldwide award-winning beers. I actually worked on that on the drive to the studio this morning. So worldwide award-winning beers. I've gotten better at it. And here's Heath Shuler, former Vol, talking about Navy getting in the game against Vol State. Heath, what did you feel like?
You you never think, when you raise your kids, and then, we took, Navy over to Tennessee like his 7th birthday, and he had some friends, and he got to act like he was running through the tee on the Neyland Stadium. Was kind of a cool thing. And you just never realized that you would have your son grow up, wear your jersey number, and run through the tee, be a part of the Tennessee family, and then also get a chance to play. So, I mean, it was emotional. The whole day was emotional for Nicole and I as we kind of watched him do the ball walk and then, go do the warm-ups. And, it was just a dream come true for him. But also as parents, you're just so proud that you get to watch your son capture a dream.
Are you sitting there hoping he gets in the game, or are you kind of like, we got a whole season to go, we'll see how things play out? But when it got one-sided, there was certainly that possibility.
Well, there was, and it was kind of funny. Nicole and I were just sitting there. She goes, "You think he'll go in?" I said, probably not. I mean, it's early. He's just got there. It's not like he's been, and then all of a sudden I saw him stand on the sidelines. I saw him run to grab his helmet. And I'm like, okay, that's always the first sign as a quarterback. You grab your helmet and you start warming up. And I think he had about 2 throws in before Heupel just kind of grabbed him and said, "All right, you're in, sling it," So I think the snap that kind of went faster, however it went, and he went and chased it down, that I think that was a pass play. So it was really cool to see that the head coach is saying, "Hey, I don't mind throwing at any point in time. You're in there. You're going to learn. We're not going to, just let you just hand the ball off." So that was pretty great to see and realize they got confidence in him.
Heath, you were such a legend, and I want to encourage people to hit that subscribe button and like so they can hear more of this, because I love talking to former Tennessee players. But you were such a legend and then a first-round pick, and I just wonder, was there any hesitation from the Shuler family perspective about Navy kind of following in your footsteps? Because you set a pretty high mark.
Navy and I had that conversation, and, we had it as a family, and what does that mean? And, it's like Navy said, he said, "Dad, look," he said, the first time I ever played, they said, "Are you going to be like your father?" And so he said, "I've kind of dealt with that my whole life." He said, "Dad, I don't look at it as like I'm trying to compete with you. I'm trying to be the best player that I can possibly be and take the God-given talent that's been handed to me, and to be able to, give my team the best opportunity to, get a chance to play and be successful." And he's, he kind of looks at it, he's proud of what I accomplished. And he says, "I'm just hoping that someday I get a chance to, fulfill his dreams as well." And, one of those was accomplished there on Thursday night.
So you guys meet up after. What was the first thing you guys said to each other?
I just hugged him and said, how proud I was. I said, unbelievable. You got to go in the game and play. And he was just like, Dad, I just can't describe it. It was so awesome running onto the field. And, you could hear when when they said, Navy Shuler entering at quarterback, you could hear the fans. And that was cool to be able to know that the fans that were still there, that they were cheering him on. And, the great part about Navy, he loves the game. And he's such a great kid, though. Kid, adult. He conducts himself in the right way. The coaches will tell you, he works extremely hard. He does everything that they ask. He's got great grades. So all the things that you ask for from a teammate and player, and I think his teammates like him. I watch him on the sidelines. He has great conversation with them. So, it's all of those things. At the end of the day, hopefully, he'll continue to compete and do the right things. And if he gets his shot one day, then that's great. But the most important thing, he's getting a great education from a great university, and he's around some incredible coaches and players that, it's going to pay off and having those relationships in years to come.
You just said something that is incredibly forgotten nowadays, because we talk so much about NIL and transfer and all this stuff. But yes, there is still an education. I think the kids deserve some of the money. I got zero problem with that. But there is still an education out there that helped you become a congressman. Yes, so, I think some of that, I don't know how we undervalue that as a society, but we kind of do. But Navy gets that.
Well, he does. And not only that, he graduated high school in 3.5 years. And so then he went to college early. And then he's gone through summer school. So, he is now halfway through his second semester of his junior year. So, he has 4 years of eligibility, 3 after this year. And so, he has and so he realizes that I know I'm going to get my master's degree. And and then after that, will I work on my doctorate? Will I get my doctorate? So you work through those things, and he's thinking about that in the back of his mind. And then just out of the blue, this summer, he said, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to get my real estate license." He said, we can start making money, NIL. I can have a job or opportunities and stuff during the summer. So he started it in late summer. And so he'll try to finish that up, maybe this fall to get his real estate license. And, because that's kind of been the theme for our family. Real estate's always been important to us, and, a lot of the things that we still do today. So he, at some point, I'm sure he and I will team up and work together. And, working with your son is always incredible. And so those are relationships that he's building both in the classroom and on the field and with the fans are important later in life.
What do you think of this offense? If I were a quarterback like you with your ability, I would be like, whoa, give me one season at 21 years old. One season.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was almost like, I look at that, David tried to create that in portions of it, because, there was the aspect of the run pass when we got inside the red zone. We ran the option. And in part of David's philosophy was, Cuckler's philosophy was, get rid of the ball. Don't worry about getting a sack. Don't take sacks. Don't, let's not put ourselves in very difficult situations, a second and long or third and long. So, let's get the ball out. So it's kind of that fast break. So it kind of has a little flair of that. And you add on top of it what Coach Heupel and his staff has been able to bring.
Yeah, and Coach Heupel bringing his staff. Keeps went away. 2 minutes, we'll be right back.
What just happened?
I don't know. But
Okay.
Hope you've had any issues at all. Ever. Like a tree falling on the house when Ben Joyce is gone. But anyway, that still will be the one that we talk about like 10 years from now. How the tree fortunately fell on the house and knocked out the Wi-Fi and power right after we said bye to Ben Joyce. It was literally 30 seconds. If that's not, I call them God shots. They're like shots at a bar, except God's telling you, hey, I'm looking out for you. That was a God shot. He was looking out for us that day because it fell right after we said bob in, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask
For another day.
hey guys on the and guys on the chat. Hey, I don't know if you checked out the YouTube channel, and I hope you're subscribed, but we had somebody asking about it's a struggle to find Tennessee content because I live in North Carolina and Crazy Nugs is out there, Glenn is out there. Guys, there's stuff that goes up on the YouTube channel daily. John Adams is going to be up this afternoon, and we play clips during the show, which we love to do and bring that to you because we bring the heat at 8:30 every morning. But there's a lot of stuff on that YouTube channel, so I would just encourage you to click that subscribe button. Please turn your notifications on. Every Sunday, we're going to have Cooper Mays and Jacob Warren and exclusive interviews that are going to roll out there. That's Sunday.
And the website.
Yeah.
Don't forget the website.
That's important. And at hooksports.com, it's all there. So I want to encourage you to check that out. Crazy says, I've watched most of y'all's stuff, and the analytics would indicate so. Thank you very much. We do appreciate that. 2 minutes back with this day in sports history. And also, I don't know, we might do a little message board bingo. I might dominate right after this. She's Amanda LaFratta.
Viles here, Viles Automotive on Callahan Drive. I've been selling cars here in East Tennessee for 27 years. In that time, I've come to realize it's not about the car. It's about you, the customer. So I'm here to take care of you just like family. Good credit, bad credit, you name it, we can get you taken care of. If we don't have it, we can find it for you. We go across the country to get any vehicle that you want. And here at Viles Automotive, we don't believe in fake numbers. We just give you great deals. And as always, we want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
This is Steve Rain. I own the Midnight Oil and Michelin Tire Direct service station here in Ottawa. It's not a fancy place, never has been, but it's a clean place with clean restrooms and good folks who work here. We sell gas and fix cars, nothing glamorous, but we love what we do, and we're going to keep doing it for a long time to come. There's not many real service stations left, and that's a shame. We're the guys just like the guys back in your hometown. We'll fix your tire, change your oil, and put a new set of Michelins on your car. If you want a Twinkie, you'll just have to keep on going. Thanks for the business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
Got exciting news here in the next couple of days. If you like to listen to the program, we're going to have a very easy way for you to do it moving forward, and we certainly appreciate your support. Hit another milestone on the website yesterday, which we're incredibly proud of. The response has been phenomenal, and we thank you, and certainly our advertisers and sponsors and our partners. Thank you as much as anything else. Amanda, we talked about meaningless lists. I'm about to give you one that may be even more meaningless, but I think it's fun to talk about. First, Glenn saying, Amanda and Dave always have a great show. So does Eric Cain. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm catching a lot of slack everywhere, so
Okay.
it's fine.
All right, so I do want to talk about this for a second. Amanda's has caught some heat, and I just want to go on record as saying that I think that she's telling absolutely fantastic, and yeah, I don't think you should be throwing shade. Is that what the kids say? Throwing shade? You're still a kid. You're a young one.
I'm not a kid anymore, but I think that's correct. I just have someone said Amanda has RBF, and I said yes, that is exactly what I have. I'm not angry, I'm not upset. This is just my face. Like, I'm sorry. This is just my face.
You're beautiful. And if anybody needs to look up that acronym because we don't like to say it, you can look it up. And then I'm taken aback by, maybe you're taken aback by the comments on your face. I'm taken aback by the James Woods thing. At first, like the first week we started, somebody said you look like James Woods. Can we pull up a picture of James Woods? And at first I was like, that seems really out in the left field that I would look like James Woods. But now the more I think about it, the more I think it's a compliment. And I'm all down with it. So I appreciate it.
Is that a young James Woods?
Well, yeah, that was assumed on my behalf. I did not want to.
A younger.
Gracious. I don't want to look like I think he's like 60, 65 years old. I'm closer than you might think. Big Orange Phillies is closer than you think. If you live in North Knoxville, Big Orange Phillies in beautiful halls. Maynardville Pike. They've got billiards. They've got darts. They've got everything you need there at Big Orange Phillies to have a fantastic time. And you'll be able to watch ball with the best of them and have just a really awesome time. The wings are fantastic. Big Orange Phillies, again, Big Orange Phillies, family friendly, and that means a lot. So, did you pull up? Do I look do I look like James? I don't see that. Do I look like that? I think he looks handsome. If I look like that, I'm down.
Oh, sorry. I disconnected for a moment.
Do you think I look? I don't think I look.
I'm kidding. I didn't disconnect. I'm just saying out of it. I'm just saying out of it. I bet. Yep.
Let's just be honest. I'm not that good looking. I'm willing to admit it. Perfect face.
Okay, it's not.
Perfect face for radio. All right. So, James Woods, very underrated actor, by the way. And I never understood Family Guy's obsession with him. Daniel said, sounds like a great, tough question. Today's tough question tomorrow. Does Dave Hooker look like James Woods?
We already did today's tough question surrounding your looks.
That's right, boys. And I don't want to go there again. Where are we at today's tough question today? Brought to you by our friends at Bassey Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. Where are we?
So today's tough question: how many SEC teams do you think will make it into a 12-team playoff? And so I changed it a little bit: 2 or less, 3, 4, 5 or more. And so what's winning right now is 3 with 56.3%.
Okay. All right.
4 is next. But keep in mind, in 2012, there would have been 5.
Yep. I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility. Making the playoff, I do think they'll try to stagger them in some shape, form, or fashion where they play each other and you don't have 3 teams from the SEC in the final.
Really?
I think they'll try.
I don't think they will. I think they'll try to get conferences playing each other as they can.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Well, there's going to be travel concerns too because the first round is going to be on home sites. By the way, Crazy Nug said the RBF is one of the things I like about Amanda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am not approachable whatsoever in public, apparently. People are always confused about how nice I am in public because, and not from the show, but in past jobs where I've bartended, apparently I just look like, don't talk to me. And then the girls that that were servers or whatever was like, I was terrified of you for 3 months. And I was like, why? They're like, you just don't look nice. I'm like, thanks. Thank you.
It's called, you got GSD, getting stuff done. You've got intent. You've got purpose. And it's everything you do. So this is a very interesting list to me. And it's even more meaningless than the AP Top 25, but it's very subjective, so I want to take a look at it. And this list comes from On3. This is a power ranking of the SEC teams. So I want to get that. But first, hit that like and subscribe button so that you can be a part of our content each and every day. We're live at 8:30, but much more on the YouTube channel. Go to offthehooksports.com. But like, subscribe, please set the notifications on. Amanda, there's no question. Vanderbilt is the 14th best team in the SEC, so I'm going to count them down. This according to On3. Auburn at 13. So you just stop me. I'm going to run through these. You stop me when you have an objection.
Okay.
LSU 12. I have an objection.
Stop. Yeah.
They're not the 12th best team. They blew it and they lost, and I think they still have chemistry issues. Obviously, one of the best players want to transfer after. They're not the 12th.
I think it depends on how they do going forward. I mean, is this, did they just blow this and then that's it? Or do I think they're going to come back and actually be able to do something more this season, not just fold to everybody else? Because that's pretty much what you're saying, is that LSU is going to beat Auburn and that's it. And they're going to fold everywhere else.
South Carolina in at 11 as the 11th best team in the SEC. What do you think about that?
I think that is BS. I do not think they're the 11th best team. I think they are better than 9, at least 9 and 10. At least 9 and 10. So I would put at least 10, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Sorry. I would put them at 8. I wouldn't put them at 11. I think they would be better than Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Missouri.
So you had South Carolina at 11, Missouri at 10, Ole Miss that I know you're pretty down on at 9. What do you think of them at 9?
I think that they should be at least 10 because I would move South Carolina above them. So I think that they should be at least 10.
Okay, Mississippi State in an 8. Again, stop me when you have an objection.
Again,
a strong objection to moving forward. Kentucky at 7th, Tennessee at 6th, Arkansas.
Objection.
Okay.
So
Yes,
Kentucky, what?
Yes, counselor.
Okay.
You
Kentucky
think all those legal dramas that my wife makes me watch about murdering their husband. It's kind of scary at night, but anyway.
She snaps. I'm not going to be surprised. So Kentucky at 7 is. Let me see. Let's go back. Okay. Well, in order to object, I have to remove people from above them. So we're going to have to do that. So Kentucky at 7, I don't believe is accurate. I would take probably Arkansas and put them at 7. I didn't think they showed did a very good job of showing. I don't even know if I would have 7 and 8 to me between Arkansas and South Carolina. I would have them 7 and 8. Kentucky, I would have I'd have Kentucky at probably 4, honestly. I would have Tennessee at 3. I'd put Texas A&M at 6.
So right now, according to On3, it's Georgia, Bama, A&M, Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee. So that's their top 6. I want to ask you, not based off just what happened last week, but what you saw, the old eye test, so to speak. How would you rank the top 5 based off eye test, based off what you knew going into the season? We're not just going to throw that away because Georgia looked dominant against what we thought would be a decent opponent. We don't know yet. But based off those factors, what's your top 5?
Off the eye test, I would have, and people are going to just jump it, and that's fine. I don't care. I'd have Alabama at 1.
Well, they can jump
again.
They can jump if they want to, but I would too.
That's fine. I would have Alabama at number 1 because I understand Oregon's a bigger name. I get that. But looking at the way that Alabama took care of Utah State that was 11-3 last season, and it made it look like they were a no-name out there. Never 55-0, shut them out completely. And I get, Georgia went 49-3 over Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at least Oregon got a field goal. Utah State didn't even get the chance to do that.
If I purely based it off of Saturday and I just showed up from Mars, I would probably have Georgia ahead of Alabama. But I've also seen Bryce Young and Will Anderson last year, and I know how good they are. So I would still have Alabama number 1, despite the fact that Georgia looks so good. I would have Georgia as second.
Yeah. Oregon, though, brought out Bo Nix like it was something to be proud of.
But that was weird. It was like we got this awesome transfer. No, you got Bo Nix.
You got Bo Nix. You got Bo Nix from a very, very depleted Auburn team. Like you got Bo Nix. You didn't get. You're not bringing in Hendon Hooker. You're not bringing in, somebody. I don't even know. You're not bringing in somebody just amazing. You got Bo Nix, man. Like, chill. So that to me at first just was like, well, maybe Oregon's not all that people think that they are. Because Bo Nix couldn't make it in the SEC.
No, he like to throw more interceptions than I like Granola. Chris has Bama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Tennessee. I'm going to give you my top 5. And I'm not trying to say this in any shape, form, or fashion to endear to Tennessee fans. I think those that know me over the years know that I got to call a spade, and I'm going to tell you what I think. I actually would have Tennessee third. I would have.
We agree on something.
We do. Our top 3 is exactly the same, right? Alabama,
yep.
Georgia, and Tennessee. And then after that, gosh, coin flip, Arkansas, Florida. Want to see more from all 4 of those teams, not just Arkansas and Florida, but I want to see more from the 2 teams they played. So, coin flip on that. But I feel pretty confident in my top 3. And I really can't believe I'm saying that at this point, that Tennessee, I feel strongly, is the 3rd best team in the SEC. But there's such a drop-off, Amanda. Being the 3rd best team in the SEC, you could win 8 games or you could win 10. There's such a hodgepodge of talent behind the top 2 of Georgia, Alabama. You could just win 7. There are a lot of things that shake out in terms of the final record. But right now, just looking at the eye test, I do think that Tennessee's the 3rd best team in the SEC. That could change in a week. I'm very volatile. So I will tell you. Trevor said, Dave, are you confident in UT's defense? I'm confident that they will be a C+ defense, and I think that's good enough.
I'm more confident in Tennessee's defense than I am in Arkansas's defense, than I am in Florida's defense, than I am in Missouri's defense, than I am in Kentucky's defense, Ole Miss's defense. I'm more confident in Tennessee's defense than I am in those 5.
Yep. And I guess the reason I have Tennessee ahead of Florida and Arkansas, if you want to pick both sides of the ball, I have more confidence in Tennessee's defense than Arkansas's offense. And with Florida, I have more confidence in Tennessee's offense than Florida's defense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Because, if you're taking like Florida-Tennessee matchup and who's going to come out the winner, you have more confidence in Tennessee being able to score a bunch of points on Florida than you have the opposite way around, than Florida scoring a bunch on Tennessee.
That's high praise from LaFratta. Crazy Nugs is saying on our message board. Click that like and subscribe button if you're listening for the first time. We would certainly appreciate that. And again, we're with you each day at 8:30. How about a little message board bingo?
It's a fun one.
Is this a good one?
This is a fun day.
All right, I love it. Owl's Nest Barbecue brings you our message board bingo today. Owl's Nest Barbecue there in beautiful Ottawa has all that you could possibly need in terms of barbecue supplies. And if you're just cruising through the area, we got a big billboard up now, so you need to stop in. You'll be very glad you did. So it is time for Amanda's favorite, and probably my favorite too, message board bingo. She reads the message board post. I try to guess what school it is, and so far the best I can do is 2 out of 3, and that's only happened like twice. So here we go.
All right. So much fun to be had today. Okay. This is an ACC team. This is a whole huge thing, but I'm just going to read the title and I'm going to read the quote. The mentality is just sad. See if your doctor can prescribe you a mean pill. Lay out of church a couple of Sundays. Do something, because this ain't working. Yeah, you won, but you better be realistic. It's to a coach.
So he must be being too nice.
Yeah.
Mike Norvell, I go Florida State.
No, it is Clemson. Dabo Swinney.
Oh, that is...
Laid out of church for a couple of weeks. What?
Yeah, wow, that's brutal. At least streaming at home. That's that. I wonder if Dabo Swinney, to some extent, if the game has passed him by a little bit. I don't know that we're going to see him in any national championship anytime soon. He had a great run at quarterback, but had a great run of defensive lineman too. I don't want to shortchange those guys. But all right, so message board bingo. I'm 0-1, and nobody is surprised.
Is the ACC Atlantic the best division in CFB this year? I'm just reading. I know it's college football. I'm just reading directly what they say. Borrowing from TMB, but with number 4 Clemson, number 13 NC State, number 21 Wake. They'll jump back up with Hartman back. FSU emerging and receiving votes at number 30. Syracuse receiving votes look pretty stout. When Louisville is the worst team in the division, that says something.
Can you read the very first line? Because you broke it like the first 5 words.
Borrowing from TMB, but with number 4 Clemson.
Keep going a little bit longer. A little bit more.
Number 13 NC State.
Okay. So is this
21 Wake? Is ACC.
Georgia Tech.
No, this is Florida State. They got that win over LSU, and they got real happy.
So Crazy Nugs apparently is 1-1 as well because he had Clemson. So when I'm getting beat by everybody, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And I'm 0-2.
This one is high quality. It's just funny. Okay. Wild story from 3 weeks ago. My coworker just now told me this. My buddy is at Cutter's 3 weekends ago. This quarterback was there surrounded by a bunch of people. My buddy goes to the bathroom. He's at the urinal and someone taps on his shoulder and says, "Got anything sharp?" My buddy said, sure, quarterback. I have this knife right here. Above one of the stalls, there's some carvings on the wall. One side reads tits, and the other reads AZZ, with tally marks under each of them. Quarterback takes my buddy's knife and cuts out the entire section, the boob section, crumbles it up, and throws it away. I don't know how it's a carving, but that's fine. Proceeds to put 1,000,000 tally marks under the rear end section. Unbelievable story, right? Except my friend snapped some photos, and there is quarterback clear as day holding my buddy's knife and carving into the wall. Said he folded the knife up, handed it back, and thanked him, then walked away. That's my Quarterback. Not quarterback, quarterback.
With a W. That's
with a QUA, but no R. Quarterback.
Oh, that's the Oxford spelling, I'm told.
Makes sense.
I have no idea who that is. I was thrown by the moment you said that a man touched another man while at the urinal. That's
It is an SEC school.
okay. I will say I'm gonna go Ole Miss. I have no idea.
Does anybody else have an idea? I can't see comments, so anybody?
Breezy said sounds like Quinn Ewers. Ewers.
That's Ole Miss. No, it is Stetson Bennett
Oh,
from Georgia.
I wanted to go with Stetson Bennett, and I didn't.
From Georgia. Oh, good old Stetson Bennett is a butt guy, apparently. Maybe he wants Butte.
Nice.
Thank
Bennett to Butte. I mean, how long does Stetson Bennett have left at Georgia? It feels like he's been there since I was in school.
He's the next Steven Garcia. He just never leaves. Stays there the whole time. Never leaves.
Craft Treats has the full spectrum CBD treats for your dog, and they can help with anxiety. They can help with arthritis as well. Just absolutely incredible. Go to crafttreats.com, or you can check us out. If you go to offthehooksports.com, you can click on any of their ads there or any of their links. They also sponsor Chalk Talk, and you can get a discount with the YouTube channel. And just check out Chalk Talk, and you'll get a significant discount on treats that will make your wallet and pet happy. This day in sports history, anything satin, as my grandmother used to say, satin. That's satin.
Well, just going on the craft treats, Ava is getting. She's not in here, so she can't. Ava is getting her haircut today, and so guess what? We're gonna fill her up with before she goes because she hates it.
She'd be stoned as a bat. What you got?
What?
She'd be stoned as a bat. All right, this day in sports history. What do you got?
All right, in 1986, that was a good year. Dan Marino throws his 100th career touchdown pass, the fastest quarterback in NFL history to do so.
And in my opinion, the best pure passer of the football in the history of mankind. And I could argue that with anyone. A really cool story about Dan Marino. He had that uber quick release, like the way he got it, just bam, it was on you. And his dad made him stand. They had a barn. Made him stand behind a barn, and his throwing arm could only go so far back, so it built the muscles back to the barn, the wall, so he could only use his muscles, and that's how he developed that quick twitch in his shoulder to get the ball out.
Wow. His dad had the forethought of I don't know. That's crazy. Good for him.
A lot of that cropped up in my memory. Tell you what's memorable is Pedigo Chattanooga, because you can get all around downtown Chattanooga with Pedigo Chattanooga, and they have the bikes that you can rent or purchase. And the thing about it is they're family owned, and they've got the service department. So if you go with a bike somewhere else, then you're going to have issues with service. I can promise you that. So Amanda LaFratta, Josh Heupel on the SEC teleconference today. We'll have coverage of that via Caleb Calhoun, and it's I don't know that anything monstrous is going to come out of it. I know that everybody's going to, thinking about Jawan Mitchell. Is he going to be healthy enough to play? Could we get an announcement there? I kind of doubt it. I think, as all coaches do, you play that really, really close to the vest. And I can't say that I blame them. And you don't need anybody, especially a good quality opponent like Pitt, knowing that. So we'll have coverage of that on offthehooksports.com. And if you're in the Knoxville area, need a mattress, the Mattress Place is the place to go. The Mattress Place is there on Chapman Highway. It's just a couple of miles from downtown, which people don't think. They hear Chapman Highway, but The mattress place, no gimmicks, just 30 to 70% off each and every day. They are awesome, Steve. We certainly appreciate it. For Amanda LaFratta, I'm Dave Hooker. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports. Hit that like and subscribe button and turn your notifications on to get more from OTH.